In an operation that will be studied for decades, the United States has announced the capture of Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro, a move that instantly reshapes the geopolitical map of the Americas, challenges the very foundations of state sovereignty, and signals a new era in U.S. foreign intervention policy. This was not merely an arrest, but the culmination of a full-scale military campaign that involved precision strikes, intelligence coordination, airborne insertions, and the rapid extraction of a head of state from his own capital. What happened in Caracas on January 3, 2026 is unprecedented in recent history, and its ramifications extend far beyond Venezuela's borders. For years, Venezuela had been at odds with Washington, oscillating between sanctions, diplomatic pressure, and periodic showdowns. The Maduro regime, fortified by alliances with Moscow and Tehran, had managed to maintain control despite economic collapse, internal dissent, and widespread allegations of corruption and human rights abuses. But the decision to launch an operation of this magnitude suggests a shift in Washington's strategic calculus, one that elevates regime change from covert policy to overt military action. At the heart of this operation was a tactical imperative: neutralize what the United States described as a destabilizing force in the Western Hemisphere that threatened not only internal Venezuelan stability, but also regional security. Maduro's government had become deeply enmeshed with transnational networks, including irregular military groups and foreign intelligence agencies, creating an unstable environment that Washington viewed as intolerable. The official narrative emphasizes the need to restore democratic order and protect civilians, but the strategic implications are far more complex. The military aspect of the operation unfolds like a textbook case in modern intervention strategy. Precision airstrikes were first used not to decapitate the regime, but to dismantle advanced anti-aircraft systems and secure air corridors for insurgent forces. Simultaneously, cyber operations targeted communication networks, while special operations teams were deployed to secure key government facilities. The speed and coordination required to seize a sitting president inside his own capital without triggering a larger urban conflict reflects a level of military sophistication rarely seen outside of open war zones. For Venezuela, the psychological shock was immediate. A leader who once stood defiantly against external pressure found himself suddenly in custody, transported out of his own country. The signal to the Venezuelan security apparatus was clear: allegiance to the regime no longer guaranteed safety. Soldiers, intelligence officers, and aligned militias were forced to reconsider their positions. In the streets, reactions varied from disbelief to cautious optimism among those who had long suffered under economic hardship and political repression. But this was never just about Venezuela. Regionally, capitals across Latin America scrambled to respond. Governments that had quietly cooperated with Washington, fearing backlash from populist internal constituencies, found themselves recalibrating public rhetoric. Others, more aligned with anti-American sentiment, decried the operation as an act of imperial overreach. This event amplifies fissures within regional blocs and may even trigger realignment among states that until now balanced between U.S. influence and strategic autonomy. The international implications extend further. Russia and Iran, both long-standing partners of Caracas, expressed sharp condemnation. For Moscow, this operation challenges its narrative of resistance to Western hegemony. For Tehran, it signals that even well-fortified alliances cannot indefinitely withstand U.S. resolve when strategic interests are perceived to be at stake. Both powers are now forced to reassess their approaches to regional partnerships, military investments, and diplomatic postures. Within the United States, the political fallout was immediate and polarizing. Supporters of the operation frame it as a necessary step toward restoring democratic norms and securing American interests. Critics argue that removing a sovereign leader through military means opens dangerous precedents that could destabilize international norms and invite tit-for tat interventions elsewhere. The debate underscores a larger question about the role of American power in a 21st century defined by multipolar tensions and diffuse threats. Economically, the ramifications could be just as significant. Venezuela sits atop some of the largest proven oil reserves in the world. The transitional government backed by Washington has already signaled plans to reopen energy markets, renegotiate contracts, and invite foreign investment. This alone has the potential to shift global energy dynamics, affect oil prices, and impact markets already strained by geopolitical uncertainty. Yet the road ahead is perilous. Replacing a regime does not instantaneously repair fractured institutions or heal deep social divisions. Maduro's capture, while symbolically powerful, could trigger insurgency, fractured governance, and even civil strife if not managed with political acumen and inclusive strategies. A nation with a decade of economic decay and social polarization cannot be healed by force alone. Washington and its regional partners now face the enormous task of nation-building under international scrutiny. The broader lesson of this operation is not the capture of a president. It is the demonstration that unilateral military action, even against sovereign states, remains a tool in the strategic arsenal of great powers. Whether this sets a precedent, encourages others, or invites new forms of resistance will depend on the unfolding diplomatic exchanges and the reactions of global actors who now see, once again, the realities of power politics writ large. In an era where military interventions are often cloaked in coalition language and multilateral frameworks, this operation lays bare a fundamental truth: when strategic objectives outweigh cost considerations, decisive action can still occur. The capture of Nicolás Maduro is not just a story about one man or one country. It is a chapter in the continuing narrative of how power is asserted, challenged, and reshaped in a world still struggling to reconcile national sovereignty with geopolitical imperatives. This operation raises a far more uncomfortable question, not whether the United States can remove other governments, but where the line is now drawn. If Washington was willing to seize a sitting president in Caracas, does this signal a broader shift toward regime removal as an acceptable tool? Or was Venezuela a unique convergence of weakness, isolation, and strategic opportunity? Countries like Iran possess deterrence, alliances, and escalation capacity that Venezuela never had, while places like Colombia are strategic partners rather than adversaries. The real question is not who is next, but under what conditions intervention becomes thinkable again.